One more thing. Eugene, give me that. If I ever find one of these lying around again, I swear to God, I will stop being so polite. Get the out of my sight before I demolish you.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, I said it.
I've seen enough. Shut it down.
Hello ladies and gents, it's your friendly Dragonslayer here, and man am I glad that I finally made it through to the end of this hellish series, because it really felt like an arduous journey getting to this point. Now, before we begin, I need to ask you guys to please let me know in the comments down below if you think there is a highly probable chance that Fred will want to kill Velma in the future.
Guaranteed disaster.
With that,
let's finish this.
So we begin with the Botch gang showing up to the hospital to see Velma's mom to find out why she has amnesia, and we find out through Norville's dad that the reason she has it is because she has built a mental wall to block out the past 2 years, but that these memories will be lost forever if they cannot keep her happy for at least 72 hours, which makes our little demon nervous. Velma and the rest of the gang then decide to go on a degrading rampage in the house to restore it to its former dump glory, and then Daphne talks with Velma about how great it would be if they both went together as a couple to the welcome home party of the Popular Brains as a way to officially upstage them with their lesbian relationship.
Oh my!
Velma tells her that she is worried about it because she's not that popular, and Daphne is about to console her with a kiss until they get abruptly interrupted by her mom coming inside the house, which causes Velma to just kick everyone she knows out of the house so her mother doesn't get traumatized by abrupt change, I guess.
Why not, you stupid bastard?
Velma's mom then has a flashback of buying Velma's glasses while researching about Dr. Edna Purdue, but gets mind-blocked immediately. Velma acts like a complete after opening up and finding out that the last present her mom gave her that Christmas was a pair of shoes, and we see her lie to her mom that her life wasn't completely ruined after she went missing for 2 years in order to keep her from losing her memories.
But I repeat,
why not, you stupid bastard?
We then jump to school where Daphne's popularity gets officially excommunicated by the Brains for leaving them for dead when they escape the mines, and we find out that Fred got excommunicated as well for two-timing the Brains when he was locked up with them. We then move forward to see Norville losing the state fencing championship because the demon of misfortune Velma decided to show up to demand his assistance in hacking into the school system to alter her grades for her report card so that she can present them to her mom as a way of making sure that again she doesn't lose her memories out of pure disappointment.
oh, hell no!
We then cut to Daphne getting rejected by everyone at lunch. Fred gets stung to death by garbage bees because someone threw a chicken thigh at him. We see some random student getting set ablaze by just exposing themselves to the sun. Velma's plans to trick her mom with her fake grades fall completely apart once she becomes suspicious of Velma's stepmom and child, but she decides the best way to mitigate the situation so her mom doesn't lose her memory is by lying to her that the baby is hers and that Norville is the father, which makes her immediately faint.
Not a great plan.
Of course, she gets reprimanded by her father for lying to her mom and gets reminded that she was an unwanted child herself, but then Velma strikes back by saying that at least she didn't cheat on her mom the instant she went missing, which causes her stepmom to suddenly appear to clarify that they started dating exactly 1.5 months after her mom went missing.
Who gives a
We then see her mom wake up and tell Velma of a recovered memory fragment she just had of using Dr. Purdue's journal to sneak inside her abandoned lab via a well until it is cut off by her commenting on how she brutalized the bats so the other ones wouldn't bother her, and not only do we see her mom being happy that at least Norville's the father of the baby while seeing him use a teddy bear to appease the child, but the show also uses this moment to do their usual sneak attack.
A teddy bear. I'm named after Theodore Roosevelt, a wealthy demagogue who massacred indigenous people in the name of imperialism.
Sneaky fracks.
Her mom then says that she can accept the granddaughter's story, but is still confused as to why Velma's stepmom is in their house, but Velma decides to tell her that it's because she asked her to take care of the baby while her mom was recovering, and that she reluctantly agreed to it because her dad paid her a lot of money. However, her mom still says that her stepmom needs to go because now that she is back, Velma and Norville can go back to taking care of their baby, which leads to what I call an appropriate result in this kind of fucked up situation.
Of course! How hard can
been watching it be, right, Norville? Norville?
Damn straight.
Her stepmom and her baby then decide to roll out of this messed up situation, and we jump to a scene where Velma and her mom have a heart-to-heart chat about how great it is that they're together again before they both go to bed. We're then shown a scene of the baby trying to sneak a revenge dookie on Velma, but is suddenly stopped by Norville, who comes in just at the right time to save her with an extra pair of diapers? We then jump to the baby crying up a storm because she wants her real mom back, and Daphne decides to show up at this moment to let her know that they won't be able to go to the party because she's been excommunicated, but Velma lets her know that she doesn't care about that sort of thing, and this is when her mom decides to interrupt the conversation by saying that she heard Velma make Daphne the baby's godmother, which leads her to come up with a bright idea of taking Fred with her to the party so they can pretend they're in a relationship so they can gain back their lost popularity.
This plan might backfire.
After pulling Fred's depressed head off the toilet and telling him about the proposal, he decides to agree to it, and not only do we see a small montage of Fred and her acting like an overdramatic dysfunctional high school couple, but we also see Velma act like the most irresponsible parent in history, which then leads to a scene of Velma's mom suddenly remembering that she found Dr. Edna Purdue's lab and the killer, but then the memory fades once the killer looks at her.
Disappointed!
Later on, Velma is trying another method to make her mom happy so she remembers more, but almost gets rejected by Norville for suggesting to put up this really sus article out there due to it going against his journalistic integrity until she tells him this reason while the baby looks at her in extreme disapproval.
Staging my cousins is an intergenerational slap in the face to my mom's sisters, and that's her #1 dream.
Fine, I'll do it.
Nah, I'm done with this shit.
Velma then takes the baby to Norville's dad's office to ask him to change the baby's diapers until she finds the welder's mask that the killer uses while having a strange encounter with him that causes her to make the wild assumption that he must be the killer because he has the same mask, which causes her to call the entire police department and a tank to descend on Norville's house to arrest his dad until everyone starts to look like complete idiots for believing in Velma when they find out that the man had a welder's mask on him because he was crafting a new sword in secret for Norville's birthday.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
Later on, we see Fred and Daphne enjoying their success in regaining their popularity, and Daphne lets Fred know that they're officially re-invited to the Brains' party, which excites him since he thinks Daphne will go with him. However, Daphne says that she wants to go with Velma, but is otherwise convinced by Fred's mom to go with them after she makes a comment from an article written almost 11 years ago about a homophobic chicken sandwich chain, and also says that she thinks that she will make the right choice due to her being such an intelligent young woman, which causes his mom to propose to her to become an intern in her company while Fred's dad is silently watching this all unfold in disapproval from behind the painting.
Okay, well, that's random.
Going back to the little demon and her simp, Norville gets extremely mad at Velma for accusing his dad of being the killer, but Velma says it's no big deal since it was all done in pursuit of making her mom remember something before the final hour is up, and this causes Norville to flip out on her, insults her for being a bad friend, tells her they aren't friends anymore, and finishes up the destruction of her character by saying this line.
Best of luck in all your future endeavors, Wilhelmina.
Good riddance to bad rubbish.
We then see Velma contemplating her life choices until the baby decides to roll out of this show like everyone else watching it and causes this montage of Velma creating destructive mayhem in the city, chasing after her until it stops when the baby rolls into a museum that suddenly gets demolished, which gives Velma a heart attack.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
However, don't worry, baby lovers, because the child is actually alive since we see Velma showing up at the botched dinner party with her in the moment Fred and Daphne kiss each other as a way to prove to everyone else that their relationship is real, and this causes Velma to go ballistic in demanding answers as to why Daphne kissed Fred, which then causes the situation to get worse when Velma's mom shows up out of nowhere to find out the entire truth about the elaborate lie everyone came up with to trick her into being as happy as possible so she can recover her memories. Is this annoying so far?
I don't even care anymore.
Also, we find out that Velma's mom already was suspicious of the entire lie and decides to have a sudden flashback where she tells everyone that she believes herself to be the killer, but I need you guys to trust me when I say that what she said is not true. And I will also tell you who the real killer is as I cover the last episode. So while I'm booting up the second half of the show, why don't you go ahead and hit that whole like, share, subscribe, and all notifications bell buttons while you're at it.
Fun and good for your health.
Alright people, the second half is booted up, so let's finish this hellish experience once and for all. So we begin with Velma monologuing about how she doesn't seem to agree with her mom's story that she is the serial killer, and she goes to a police auction where she sees Daphne's cop mom selling off the van her mom rescued them in 2 episodes ago, but then Norville shows up to ask her to confirm if the story of her being a heartless demon is true, while ignoring her apologies, and Daphne decides to step in to stop Norville's questioning, which only makes this little demon angry enough to do this foolishness.
The only thing I need is to kick your for kissing Fred.
Hey, maybe we could do that again.
Sensational.
Moving on, Velma insults the cops while demanding to see her mom, but finds out through a clip they showed her that she practically confessed to the sheriff that she did all of those killings in order to put the brain of a popular girl into Velma's body, which would be a great upgrade for her considering she is a demon from hell.
Emotional damage!
Of course, Velma doesn't believe what her mother just said about why she killed those girls, since it wouldn't make sense to fake her own amnesia, but the cops say that it doesn't matter anymore since their hands are tied, and that their mom will end up going to death row and get hounded by true crime podcasts unless she finds other evidence pointing to someone else.
Wait, what?
Desperate for answers, Velma begs the cop moms to let her speak to her mom for a few minutes, but they tell her that the only way the sheriff will let her talk to her mom is if she murders someone because he doesn't want her to mess up his case, which I guess is supposed to be a very weak jab at the police departments that keep criminals off the streets of the neighborhoods these show producers and Mindy Kaling live in.
Emotional damage!
It's over 9,000! What, 9,000?
Moving forward a bit, we see Fred's mom talking to Daphne about the fact that she brought up the company by doing illegal stuff while bribing politicians with her own 2 hands. She finds out she wasn't a company diversity hire. She finds out that Fred's mom requires her to coax Fred into becoming a more competent future leader of the company, and Daphne is even given a big lesson that in huge corporate businesses, no one gives a shit about your feelings.
Everything else is crap!
We then see Velma banging on the door of Fred's house to be let in. Norville tries to call her for some reason but gets his call rejected by Velma as usual, and she finds out Fred is raging like a madman because his parents don't think he can run the company competently, which leads to us finding out the fact that the creepy pedo van he bought off that auction earlier on in the episode to make himself look good is going to be the future Scooby-Mobile.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Velma supports his idea of using a former pedo van to promote his company's goods, which leads to him flipping out like a lunatic again in protest until he realizes that Velma actually supported his decision, and then we see Velma finding a way to get arrested by the sheriff by doing this.
But would you arrest her if someone like me said someone like her was bothering him?
Well, yeah, that would do it.
What a load of shit.
We then see Daphne asking Norville if he knows about Velma's whereabouts, but he says he's so pissed off about Velma's bullshit that he doesn't give a crap about her anymore, which surprises everyone. Daphne then looks inside her locker to see a note hidden inside a geode from her biological mom saying that she survived getting killed by the killer and was able to swipe off something off him that could possibly give her a clue as to who the killer is as an apology for abandoning her entire life.
Oh no! Anyway.
Moving on, Velma finds out through her mom that her memory was not due to amnesia, but because she was hypnotized by someone to not remember what actually happened, and before she can do anything about it, she gets locked up by the sheriff so she doesn't go around messing up his easy conviction case, but gets rescued by Daphne, who confirms her suspicions about her mom being hypnotized, while also finding out through Daphne's unexpected finger snap that the serial killer also hypnotized her with those crazy hallucinations 2 years ago so she wouldn't go around looking for her mom.
I don't give a
She eventually finds out that the pocket watch Daphne got from her biological mom apparently belonged to the army general that funded Dr. Edna Purdue's brain research, which leads her to conclude that whoever the killer is could be connected and has knowledge of Dr. Purdue's research. Before leaving, Daphne makes up with Velma for the 1000th time, and we find out Daphne got easily duped into getting kidnapped by a limo that was sent for her.
You are stupid.
We then find out through a final naked underage girl's locker room shower scene that the brains were hypnotized as well and can't remember a thing, but we also see Gigi criticizing her for being such an asshole to Norville even though he left her a voicemail letting her know that he was transferring schools. We then see Norville all depressed that he has to leave school until he sees his new medieval fantasy school, which makes him forget everything, and we see Velma getting mad at one of Norville's voicemails regarding her being a Tolkien hater, to which I say this answer.
Shut the f up, bitch.
Velma decides to listen to all of Norville's simp voicemails in a pointless montage that she will forget in a few minutes, and then she finds out through her glasses and the pocket watch that the killer is someone from Fred's family. Fast forwarding a bit, we see Velma sneaking into Fred's house with her dad to Dr. Edna Purdue's lab by following the directions stated in her journal, which leads her to finding out that the killer has both Daphne and Fred strapped to beds.
Oh, scary! Oh, shiver my timbers! Shut up!
She then tries to free them, but is stopped by the killer who almost stabs her until Velma sprays her with perfume that causes the cape bats to make the killer trip and hit his head with a portable radio, and she tells both Daphne and Fred with a pointless, complex explanation, after tying up the killer, that the person responsible for the murders is actually Fred's mom, because she was the daughter of the army general who funded Dr. Edna Purdue's research.
Oh my God!
Furthermore, they find out through Fred's mom that the reason she did all of those murders was to find a suitable brain of a highly intelligent girl that she could transplant into Fred's body so that she could get rid of her useless son and have a competent woman's brain take over the company one day in Fred's body, because she believes the only competent people allowed to run a mega corporation are women. We also find the origin of her motivations is because her father tried to take all the credit for Dr. Purdue's work but ended up losing everything, not only because the doctor undid and hid all of her work in order to prevent it from falling into the wrong hands again, but also because the general was unable to crack her mind into giving him the information, which led to the government withdrawing his funding and her father just deciding to leave his family out of shame.
Yes, you're probably right, Brian. Such scum.
Fred's mom then says she decided to marry into Fred's family so that she could rebuild herself again, but that all of her dreams of grandeur were being threatened by her son Fred, and that's when she says the reason I mentioned previously of why she was trying to do that whole brain operation on Daphne and Fred.
I don't care. I don't care.
Fred's mom then gets saved by her hypnotized husband, and the gang is only able to get out of this situation once Velma insults Fred enough to send him into a blind rage that ends with his mom escaping the lab by setting it on fire, and the gang pursues her outside of it, which leads to the epic conclusion of Fred's mom getting brutally impaled by a falling stalagmite from the cave, and Velma celebrating like this.
Amazing! Like, best day ever! I solved the case! Happy dance! It's true.
You are scum.
We then get a montage of Velma feeling great that she solved the mystery and embarrassed the sheriff's police department while being able to hang out with her mom. Norville gets recommended by his dad to take some weed to get rid of the trauma of seeing Fred's mom die in such a brutal way. Daphne receives a mysterious envelope with a blood pentagram that we never find out what it is. Fred leaves after his mom's funeral in his mystery pedo van, and then we see the most tragic death in this show so far, damn it.
Hello, hello.
Alright everybody, now that we have finally learned just how psychologically destructive Mindy Kaling's therapy session of a show was, I'm gonna let you know that I personally gave this show a 1 out of 10 overall, and the reason for that is not only because the best character this first season had was the sheriff, who was the most hilarious one in the show as well, but also because Velma suffered many instances of pain being inflicted on her in a variety of ways, especially by a car.
That's a feeling of satisfaction I can't describe.
Everything else besides that is just a terrible and lazy disappointment that shows all future audiences and Hollywood producers what happens when you decide to focus more on virtue signaling and being politically correct rather than focusing on making a unique adaptation that respects the Scooby-Doo IP, and the result is that you end up making everyone angry in the pursuit of pleasing everyone. Now, to my extreme disappointment, you all may have heard that this show is getting a second season, so you already know what I'm going to do to it once it comes out.
He's gonna destroy him.
With that, friends, I thank everyone that stuck around watching all of my Velma videos, because at the end of the day, I do it mostly to have someone hear my cries of anguish or happiness at Hollywood. And on a side note, my upcoming videos will be covering old movies, since I've been devoting too much time to TV series I've been seeing while leaving out the movies for a long while. But I will make sure to get back on track with that, so that's why you'll be seeing more movie reviews in the upcoming weeks. But other than that, I wish you all a wonderful day and Namarie.